Hello, my name is Amanda, and the topic I have been researching over the course of this semester is prescription drug use and abuse. During the course of this video, I'm going to be comparing the highest quality primary empirical study from my research paper to the lowest quality primary empirical study. Before we get any further in comparing these studies side by side, let's first look at the purpose, design, and findings of each study. In the high-quality study, the purpose was to look deeper into how students were using ADHD medications, either legally or illegally. The design of this experiment was that an initial 1,811 students were surveyed. Following the survey, a sample size of 175 undergraduate students were chosen from the initial 1,811. 94 were male and 81 were female. They were then asked a series of questions and categorized based on their answers to these questions. Out of the 1,811 students surveyed, 585, or 34% of them, had used ADHD medications illegally. When we look to the right at our low-quality study, we can see that the purpose of the study was to see if prescription drug abuse was linked in some way to child abuse. The study was conducted via phone survey of women that opted to call in. Questions were asked of the women, and the data was recorded of 811 women that ranged in age from 18 to 59. The findings of this study showed that prescription drug abuse was linked to child abuse. The abuse that occurred was emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Moving on, we are going to look at the internal and external validity of each study. The internal validity of a study is talking about how well a study is done based on whether or not it has only one independent variable, while the external validity refers to whether the study can be generalized and used in other situations and in regards to other people, events, etc. In the highest quality study, we can see that they definitely avoided confounding and only had one independent variable, which was whether the drugs were used legally or illegally. This means that the internal validity is high. This study can also be generalized to other situations and people. The sample size was large and included a relatively equal amount of males and females. These facts mean that the external validity is also high. When looking at changes that need to be made to this study in the future, the only thing that I can see would be to show the exact questions asked and how the students were categorized based on their answers to these questions. In the need for further research, it would be interesting to look deeper into how many students that use these drugs illegally obtain them from the same person, or how many of the drugs are from the exact same prescription. In the lowest quality empirical study from my individual research paper, we can see that they did avoid confounding and only had one independent variable. This means the internal validity was high. The study can also be generalized to other situations and people, but only to women, since the sample of the study was purely female. This means that the external validity was not as high. This is because the study may not be valid in other external situations. I think that something that needs changed in this study is the fact that they surveyed people that called in. This could mean their information or validity is skewed, or the same person could have called in multiple times. In further research, it would be good to use a more diverse sample size, with both males and females, and a better sampling method to obtain this data. This is my citation information for both of the primary empirical research studies that were compared side by side in this video. I hope that you enjoyed this comparison of both and found it helpful in seeing the internal and external validity of each.